Hi, I'm Susan Lewis from WRTI. This is Time In, and I'm here with Carolyn Sampson. Hi, Carolyn.
Hi, Susan. Lovely to see you.
Lovely to see you. How are you doing? You live somewhere north of London?
Yes, I'm in a town called Bedford in the UK, about 50 miles north of London.
Now, you are usually performing on opera stages, in concert halls with orchestras all over the world. Where were you when everything shut down earlier this year?
Well, I was in Finland making a recording and doing a couple of concerts with a group called the Tapiola Sinfonietta. So we were doing the Cantaloupe Chant d'Auvergne, and that was actually about a week before the UK locked down. But of course, I was out there for 12 days. So I saw Germany locking down, and I saw the situation being very bad in Italy. And everyone kept saying, oh, the UK is about 2 weeks behind Italy. And I was like, why aren't we closing down? So I was, in fact, I was up all night one night just thinking, I need to leave. I've got to get out of here. Otherwise, I'm not going to be able to fly home. So I had a big old panic. And then the French conductor, Pascal Roffet, and I agreed that it would be fine to stay one more day and then go home, because I was really thinking I'm going to have to break off the recording here. But it was fine. I made it home. And yeah, that was a week before the UK locked down. And in fact, I took my kids out of school already that first week because you could tell that it wasn't going anywhere good. And I just wanted to minimize our risk. So I sort of made my own decision.
What's your life been like? What was it like when everything shut down and you ended up at home? Who was home with you, and what kind of things were you doing?
Well, I've got my children who are now 12 and 9. They were 11 and 8. We've had birthdays. Um, and their father was here. We don't live together, but he comes and stays with us over from Germany. So he was here, which was lucky, and he stayed an extra couple of weeks because, of course, we thought that when he goes back to Germany, we don't know when he'll come back. So that was a thing, but it was good, um, and it felt like the right thing to do, very much. But then, so most of lockdown I spent with just me and the kids at home. We see my mum and my stepfather who live very close. So we just meet up in the garden. Well, we still do. We mostly just meet up in the garden and that sort of thing. So we've been careful, but we've seen them all the way along, which has been really important for all of us. Actually, I've needed that because just to have adult company, and they needed it as well, just not to go stir crazy on their own.
So, what kind of things do you like to do when you're at home?
Well, um, I guess in the first few weeks, perhaps the first month or two, I suppose none of us really realised how long this would go on. Uh, and so it wasn't too bad. We did our walks. We discovered new areas around here that, I mean, I was born in Bedford, brought up here, but I've still never been to the woods that happen to be sort of just behind my house. So we, we discovered that. We found some tadpoles in the pond and went to see them every couple of days to see if they had legs. It was quite simple. We watched a few more movies than we normally watch. The kids had a little bit more screen time than they normally get, which I think they saw as a big plus. And yeah, the time went. And then once they were back at school after Easter, that was online learning. And that was quite intense. So that was hard work, supporting both of them, especially my then 8-year-old. I got them a secondhand iPad each, and we were trying to figure out all the tech, and it's not my strong point either. They got very good at it. They're very quick at typing now. um, yeah, but that was full on, and actually I didn't sing.
Right. You were not doing any music at all.
Very little, and I found it really stressful, and I found it more upsetting than anything else. So definitely for about 3 months I just didn't bother. I decided to concentrate on the kids and doing home and education. I would find it, because I tried to sing a couple of times, but I'd look at all my scores and I just didn't know what to sing. Nothing seemed right, and nothing. I played the piano a little bit instead.
What kind of music do you like to play?
Oh, just sort of Mozart sonatas and a bit of Mendelssohn, stuff that I used to be able to play when I was 18, and I haven't got any better. I've got a little bit worse. But those pieces. But I found it easier just to play the piano and not think about singing.
And you were helping your children with their online learning. Did you learn any subjects that you or brush up on any subjects?
That was brilliant. That was great. It was really nice actually to see how they're taught. Their school was brilliant. They provided a lot of online resources, and they met up with they would see their teachers every day on like Zoom, Microsoft Teams. So that was really nice actually, to have a little feel for what goes on at school, and you get an idea for their classmates actually, how they are. And I enjoyed that side of it. And some of the subjects, that was interesting. My daughter's the sort of 8-year-old, 9-year-old doing religion and things like that. I learned some stuff about Islam that I didn't know, things about Sikhism. That was really good.
Were there any activities that you started that you or revived that you hadn't done before the pandemic, but you might continue after?
Well, I had the bright idea in the Easter holidays that we would try to trace our family tree, because I thought that was a thing that we could do together, me and the kids, and it would be interesting. And we did that. We were quite keen on that for a couple of weeks, and it sort of fell by the wayside. But I want to carry on with that because it was interesting. We got quite a long way back, just in terms of names and dates. And what I'd like to do now would be to look at, for example, what professions people did. But it's very focused. I'm very English, it turns out. So way back, we got back to the 1700s, and everyone basically in the same parts of England.
So did you have any particular music or film or books that you turned to?
Not very much music. I didn't listen to very much. I found that very difficult. I remember once just switching the radio on and catching. We have on our Radio 3. It's on Saturday evenings at about 6:30. It's opera on 3, and it's usually like broadcasts from the Met or from the Royal Opera House, stuff like that. And I can't remember where it was from, but I caught the very end of Bohème. And actually just that piece kind of gets me anyway, but then hearing the applause had a real effect on me, and I just sort of stood in my kitchen and had a little wail and realized that I missed being on stage. So music wasn't a comfort actually for me particularly, and I didn't feel like I had time to read. I just kind of immersed myself actually in the home, and I watched things with the children, but then there's a limit to what we can watch because of their ages.
Right.
But yeah, I kind of hunkered down and was very inward looking actually for the first few months. And I did a couple of online things when I was asked to, and then actually decided pretty quickly that I would only do them if there was a fee involved, even a small one, because I felt quite strongly that we shouldn't be just doing things for free. Right. Because we're all there with no income. And I think especially right now, people should be valuing art and the arts, when that's what everyone's been doing basically, is using that content.
Right.
So I felt quite strongly about that. And I didn't have any energy or imagination I didn't feel remotely creative. So I didn't feel like I was going to spark any projects myself. And I feel much better now that I have a few things to focus on.
I was going to ask you because we talked earlier and you mentioned a new project that you're working on with Joseph Middleton.
Yeah, very exciting. And we had a recording patch in for next week that we'd had planned for ages. It was going to be with the baritone Roderick Williams, and then he had to change his plans because of something else. And now what we're doing is recording Wolf Italienisches Liederbuch with Alan Clayton. So that's really exciting. And in fact, Alan's just had to change his plans again a little bit. So, because everything changes all the time right now. So, in fact, what's going to happen is Joe and I are going to start recording the Wolf. We're going to record our bits. And then we're going to make a start on our next disc, which is going to be Schubert Volume 2. So that's really exciting. So there's suddenly a big impulse and something to work for.
That's great. Things are picking up.
Yeah.
And so hopefully things will continue to improve. Thanks so much, Carolyn Sampson, for spending some time with us.
Thank you. Thanks, Susan.